video, so we will start with name of the business. The name of business is KBL Makmur Enterprise. KBL Makmur Enterprise, that is a civil, electrical and mechanical engineering works, general construction contractor, transport agents such as backhoe and excavator for rental service. For your information, this company is sole proprietorship. A little about this company. KBL Makmur Enterprise has been in operation for almost 15 years since its inception on 2006. This company name owned by one owner only, who is
Mr. Muhammad Syaiful bin Zainal Abidin.
The sole proprietorship is registered under Suruhanjaya Malaysia SSM with number registered CA 0104492. Okay, we move to the location of the company. The company is located at 163B Kampung Paya Pagar, Jalan Triang Temerloh 28200 Bandar Bera, Pahang. Interestingly, this location very strategic. I said it because the company is located near the main road, that is the road of the heavy vehicles such as truck, factory lorries and heavy load lorries use this route to transport and deliver goods either from Temerloh Industrial Manufacturing to the Bahau or vice versa. Alright, for the capital contribution, this company start the business with 30,000 ringgit Malaysia. This capital comes from the owner, that he said it is from his own savings. With this capital RM 30,000 ringgit Malaysia, the owner bought a lorry and a backhoe for the business uses. Okay, next, the information about the activities for the company. That company have 20 workers, including one clerk, maintenance worker, also the driver. This business provide and carry out the fabrication service for FGV Palm Industrial Sdn Bhd palm mills throughout Malaysia. This is including Triang Palm Mill, Cementi, Keratong, Palong Timur, Trolak, Bersaut, Selancar, Adela and Jengke too. Besides, this business provide the rental service for construction vehicles such as lorry, backhoe and excavator.
Characteristic of the business. Registration. As a sole proprietorship, this business registered under Suruhanjaya Syarikat Malaysia SSM. Capital. KBL Makmur Enterprise capital is contributed by the owner named Muhammad Syaiful bin Zainal Abidin. The business opening capital is started with 30,000 ringgit cash come from owner personal savings. As a start, this business bought in a lorry amounted 12,500 ringgit and a backhoe amounted to 10,000 ringgit. The business owner turned over the capital with the remaining balance amounting to 7,500 ringgit. After second month of running business, there is no injection of capital were made by the owners. Ownership owned by one person. Management and control. This business is handled and controlled by the owner. Management control is described as a function that is aimed at achieving defined goals within a set timetable. The process has three major components like taking remedial action, measuring the actual performance, and setting standards. For information, KBL Makmur Enterprise hired about 20 workers including a clerk, drivers, and maintenance workers. KBL Makmur Enterprise use regulative control, which is promotes goal attainment in management control policies as it result of standard operating procedure and standing policies of a company. The key is to match organization, a goal, for instance customer satisfaction. KBL Makmur Enterprise has a procedure that is used to open the tender with other companies, so that the company can manage the project systematically and did not overlap with another task at one time. unlimited liability. It means that if their business fails and the assets are not enough to cover the debt, the payable have a right against the owner's personal properties. KBL Mamo Enterprise have both types of liabilities, include long and short-term liabilities. Then, account payable are their current suppliers. For example, one of KLB Mamo Enterprise supplier is Biogases and Machineries Berhad, which provide maintenance equipment such as cylinder gas oxygen and Amaron battery. Profit or loss. As KBL Mamo Enterprise is a sole proprietorship, profit belongs to the owner and any losses incurred will be borne by the owner. For the first month, KBL Mamo Enterprise earned 9,000 ringgit net profit. For the second month, KBL Mamo successfully earned 17,000 net profit. The latest profit of this business as at November 2021 is 100 ringgit net profit. Book of account. There is no legal obligation to keep the book and prepare accounts. KBL Mamo Enterprise hired other company to do their book account, which is Azram Aziz and Partners Temellow branch. This company will do the ledger and journal. As this is private and confidential, our team cannot present to you an example of KBL Mamo Enterprise's book of account.
I'm going to discuss about classification of items in business. Basically, we have 5, which are asset, owner securities, liabilities, and revenue, and expenses. For your information, asset, owner security, and liabilities can be found in statement financial position, while revenue and expenses is in statement profit or loss. Asset can be classified by 2 types, which are current asset, non-current asset. So non-current assets can be categorized into tangible, intangible assets, and investment. What is asset? Asset is property owned by a business which bring future economic benefits. They has potential to reduce costs in future, meaning to say that it brings you something good. So non-current asset is a long-term investment that have a useful life of more than 1 year. For KBL Mamo Enterprise, they own non-current assets such as office equipment, which are printer, fixture fittings, machinery, motor vehicle, also land and building, lastly vehicle, which are excavator, forklift, bulldozer, roller, and crane. Next, KBL Mamo Enterprise also have current asset, which means a short-term assets that are convertible to cash within a year. They own inventory, which is metal. Also, closing inventory on November 30, 2021 amounted 100,000. Also, cash at bank 100,000, and cash in hand. They also has account receivable. It means the factory or company that rent heavy equipment. Then N2 classes for industrial and construction sites such as FGV Holdings Berhad, rented backhoe and lorry tipper, costly 450 per hour. Liabilities are the financial obligation of a business to its creditors. Liabilities can also be classified as non-current liabilities and current liabilities. Non-current liabilities is long-term, which means amount owed by business, not repaid within a year, while current liabilities is short-term, amount owing by business to be repaid within a year. KBL Mamo Enterprise doesn't have any non-current liabilities because its owner doesn't make any loans to maintain the business. It has no current liabilities, meaning to say. However, KBL Mamo Enterprise does have current liabilities, which is account payable. Account payable is people in this business department or division make sure the company pays its suppliers and other debtors, meaning to say that purchase on credit from supplier within a normal credit term. For example, they buy metal for daily and monthly stocks, value around 10,000 on credit. Besides, their suppliers is big gases and machinery, Sedian Berhad. This is where business purchase maintenance equipments RM 1025 on credit. They also deposited 50,000 cash into bank. Expenses is cost of assets used or services used in earning the revenue. KBL Makmur Enterprise has lots of expenses such as paid electricity expense, costs about 300 ringgit by cash per month. Next, salaries and wages amounting from 2,000 to 3,000 by cash per month for 20 workers consist of clerk, maintenance and drivers. Besides, they also purchase of goods, construction equipment such as backhoe, loader 100,000 to 400,000 ringgit by check. They also paid Astro and Wi-Fi expense around 300 ringgit per month cash, also CCTV 3,000 ringgit per unit by cash. And lastly, paid for repair and maintenance 1,000 ringgit for asset at starting year of business 2006 in cash.
Capital represent owner supplied fund to the business. Capital also means stock or ownership in a company. When KBL Makmur Enterprise first started on business, the beginning capital brought by the owner was 30,000 in 2006. Besides, the owner also brought on assets such as vehicle, motor, backhoe and lorry, and tools. Drawing, the act of taking money or assets from a business for personal use by withdrawing cash or goods from a business account. For example, products or equipment taken from the firm for the owner use. So for KBL Makmur Enterprise, there is no draw.
Revenues represent total value of all goods and services sold by a company in a period. Revenues, also known as sales or income, is the first line on an income statement and is commonly referred to as the top line. Revenues will increase on the security also. Revenues can be categorized into operating revenues and non-operating revenues. Operating revenues are the revenues that were earned from the primary business activity. Non-operating revenues are the revenue generated by unrelated business activity. KBL Makmur Enterprise receive operating revenues from daily business transaction. Their target achievement at least 1,000 ringgit of revenues. However, business always achieve around 3,000 ringgit each day, which make operating revenues for a month around 100,000 ringgit from construction equipment rental. So they also receive non-operating revenues when some of the assets were sold, such as metal RM50 ringgit for the wholesale price but sold at price 65 per unit.
The next part is the recording process of the business. Accurate bookkeeping is necessary for keeping track of company's day-to-day spending. One of the biggest key to a company's success is using accurate accounting records to make decisions about the company's future direction. Firstly, by source document. Source document is the original record containing the detail to substantiate a transaction entered in an accounting system. For example, a company's source document for the recording of construction equipment and tools purchased is the supplier's invoice supported by the company's purchase order. KBL Makmur Enterprise just use a certain of documents like bank statement, purchase order, invoice, quotation, cash receipt, payment voucher, petty cash, and online transaction MBB in his transaction business. Next, books of prime entry or journal. A journal is a detailed account that records all the financial transactions of a business to be used for future reconciling of and transfer to other official accounting records. The types of journal in accounting are purchase journal, sales journal, cash receipt journals, cash payment journal. For example, KBL Makmur Enterprise record the event occurs in appropriate journal because the owner wants to keep track of their business expenses. This will include payroll, subcontractor fees, equipment, and material purchases. Furthermore, ledger. Ledger, traditionally known as T accounts, with debits on the left side and credits on the right side. For example, Encik Muhammad Syaiful, who are the owner of KBM Makmur Enterprise, also records the transaction occurs in the ledger, but he paid wages to another company, which is Azlan Aziz and Partners, to make the ledger of his business. Besides, trial balance. Trial balance is an accounting report that lists the balance in each of an organization's general ledger accounts. The balance of all ledger are compiled into debit and credit account column, totals that are equal. For example, since Encik Syaiful has paid wages to Azlan Aziz and Partners to make the ledger, so that the company will prepare the trial balance too. The owner will also send all the statements that have been completed for the year. Moreover, adjusted entries, which is adjustment to asset and liability account to reflect the impact of accounting periods on underlying transactions. They commonly result in accruals and prepayments, depreciation and inventory adjustments. For example, Encik Syaiful rarely do adjustment in his business, but in certain parts, of course, this event will happen. The purpose of adjusting entries is to ensure that financial statement of his business will reflect accurate data. Then, do adjusted trial balance. As for the company, they making adjusted trial balance since from the beginning, the business used a proper accounting system, so that adjusting journal entries are posted in the general ledger to eliminate the detected error. These changes are reflected in the adjusted trial balance. Last but not least, which is financial statement. Financial statement presents the result of operations and the financial position of the company. For example, the owner also has paid wages to Azlan Aziz and Partners to do the financial statement. Financial statement help to spot money problems in the company before they happen.
Next, we are going to discuss about strengths and weaknesses of recording process in accounting. The recording process of company transaction from source document is the first step in the recording process. However, there are a few pros and cons that happens in every organization. The strength is failing the source document. The owner of KBL Makmur Enterprise keeps all transactions of his business such as bank statement, purchase order, invoice, cash receipt, and payment voucher in a file. This situation allows the owner to find important information as well as to make reference to transactions that already happens more easily and quickly. Have more time. KBL Makmur companies will have more time to do other work as they hire Azlan Aziz and Partners company to create journal and ledger. With this, the KBL Makmur company has more time to do other work. With this, owners can focus on increasing profits. Next, can create an outline budget. The objective of financial statement is to prepare a blueprint for the future by analyzing the past financial statement, already prepared and audit. Budget help to keep the expenses in line with income and sales. The owner also has paid to wages the Azlan Aziz and Partners company to do the financial statement. Because of that, KBL Makmur Enterprise will know how much money is available for future planning, and decision making ensures that the company does not spend more than expected. Next, minimize accounting error, and it is easy to find out such error. Prime entry books are accounting books. KBL Makmur Enterprise use a prime entry book to record a transaction at first before recording it in the ledger account. If a business record all the transactions in ledger, the ledger account will become cluttered. Therefore, to prevent this problem, the company record all the transactions initially in relevant prime entry book. The entry recorded in a prime entry book is a simple note of the transaction. The business has a separate book for each type of transaction. This is because it is difficult to record all the transactions in a single prime entry book. The weakness is take a long time. KBL Makmur Enterprise does not create its own journal and ledgers. The owner sends all relevant information to the company Azlan Aziz and Partner. This causes journals and ledger to take a long time to complete when hiring another company to create journals and ledger. Next, risk of losing the transaction. All transactions made by KBL Makmur Enterprise are stored in a file. The risk of the transaction paper being unplugged or torn is very high. This puts the stored transaction at high risk of being lost. In addition, when a flood occurs, it will also cause the transaction paper to get wet and cause it to be damaged. Next, based on historical costs, financial statements do not disclose the current worth of the company. Initially, record transactions at their cost. The value of assets and liabilities change over time. Sometimes, items such as marketable securities alter the amount to match change in their market values, but other items such as fixed assets do not change. Thus, the balance sheet could be misleading in present a large part of the amount which is based on historical costs. It does not prove that the ledger is correct. This may include wrong, missing or duplicate journal entries. In this case, even though trial balance lists all balance of general ledger account that the KBL Makmur Enterprise has at the given point of time, it does not mean all transactions have been recorded into ledger account. Moreover, because the trial balance rule is to make sure that total debits equal the total credit, it does not mean the ledger is correct. Likewise, there are many errors that trial balance cannot detect due to its limitation.